Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today we're going to discuss the new skill that's coming out and some of the nodes that were teased for the new Sentinel skill, Void Cleave, and then we're also going to show some footage and talk about the other two skills that we have footage of, the new rework of Static Orb, and then of course the visual effects that we saw for the lightning conversion of Meteor. We'll have gameplay of all three of those, and also we're going to discuss a little bit or speculate on Chapter 9 and what it might entail in 8.3. Now, we have heard rumors and there's been speculations, and even Mike in the dev stream said that he speculates that this patch 8.3, this next patch, will come out probably late August. That's what's speculated right now, but that does mean that we're getting to within a month of it, which means we should expect teasers to start dropping quite often at this point. We saw that ramp up in the last patch, especially since we had a 3-month cycle. That last month had lots of new content that was being shown off, and then also it's been said that this patch will be one of the biggest, if not the biggest patch to come out so far, which means there's going to be lots of things for them to tease, or at least I would assume and speculate that there would be. Well, let's go ahead and start with Void Cleave. Now, Void Cleave was recently posted to show off some of the new nodes. The post, which is linked below in the description, says as follows: "Hello travelers, we are adding some new tools into the Sentinel's arsenal in the upcoming patch, the first of which will be Void Cleave. That means that there's more than one skill coming." Now, they've already said, I think I heard it in the dev stream, that 3 skills are being removed. Which 3, we don't know. You can guarantee it's probably the stances, and probably one other one, but we'll have to wait and find out what those 3 are. They haven't named them yet, but Void Cleave is one of 3 that are coming. They said that they are replacing all 3, so we should expect at least 3 skills that are new coming to the Sentinel, as well as they've said that there will be major changes coming to the Sentinel as well, so we can probably see reworks. There's also been hints, which will go in the comments below here, and you'll see hints that there's going to be a lot of other reworks, so we won't even know how things are really going to stack up with each other. Now, Void Cleave is a powerful melee attack with a short cooldown and a moderate mana cost that hits all enemies in front of you while also granting additional forward momentum. And when we watch the gameplay, you will see that you go forward a little bit. What is a moderate mana cost? Hopefully, it's moderate and cheap. I would like to use the word cheap. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. The skill requires that you use a 2-handed sword or axe to be equipped. It does not rely upon weapon reach, and added damage applies at 400% effectiveness. Now, since this is a void skill, you do have to have a 2-handed sword or axe. I'm already thinking Apalthe's Maul, the 2-handed void axe that you get from the corrupted Orbis, Shade of Orbis, is already going to be a very effective weapon here. We're talking about having 100 or up to 120 void flat damage on that. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best in slot weapon, I would assume, with this, but we'll see when the time comes. Now, while it is primarily designed for Void Knights, the specialization tree offers conversions to support other masteries in addition to a wide variety of options for players to customize Void Cleave's behavior. And as we can go down below and see, it says Void Cleave. This is the main tooltip. It requires a 2-handed sword or axe, a melee attack that hits all enemies in an area in front of you. It's unaffected by weapon range. And then you can see that stacks with physical, void, melee, movement, and strength. And the only tag that I see that strength is actually doing for you is going to be a damage increase. No area, no movement with it, nothing else, no cooldown reduction, no mana efficiency stacking. It looks like it's just going to be a straight strength, just increases damage the usual for 4% per point. Then if we go down, we have some example nodes. We have Warped Decay. Void Cleave hits inflicted enemies with Time Rot. Now, something should be noted here if you read the more information. Time Rot is an ailment that deals void damage over time, increases stun duration by 5%, lasts 3 seconds, and stacks up to 12 times. That last line is new. Time Rot currently can only have 1 stack in game, and now it will be stackable up to 12 times. So that's a new change that's coming. What that does mean is it's going to allow you to get up to 60% stun duration if you have that maximum 12 times or stacks on. And then of course there's always Time Rot effect. We don't know how much of that will be in the game, but if you have some of that, that's just going to increase that duration even more. If we go down, we got Endless Hunger, which is a ravaging aura, leeches a portion of the damage it deals as health. I assume this has really nothing to do with actual cleave hit. It seems like it's just going to be an aura around you that's going to do damage, assuming damage over time, and then leech a portion of that damage. I assume it would turn it into a damage over time skill. That would be an aura. Maybe it just applies hits every second or something, but I would assume it'd be more like a Maelstrom thing. Then we have Resonant Cleave. You cast Abyssal Echoes after using Void Cleave. Abyssal Echoes cast this way uses its mana cost, and we all know that Abyssal Echoes can be quite expensive. We know there's going to be a moderate cost to Void Cleave, so what I'm hoping is that Abyssal Echo sees some type of rework. I'm really hoping that the tree has changed, maybe the mana cost has been reduced. That's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, it's going to seem like a very expensive thing to use a Void Cleave and then have an Abyssal Echoes automatically proc. The other thing is, Void or Abyssal Echoes usually is a debuffer. So I'm curious what changes are going to come to Abyssal Echoes, because normally if you're cleaving and hopefully killing things extremely quickly, you're not going to be standing around doing 20 hits hoping that Abyssal Echoes is stacking things over time. But Abyssal Echoes is probably also going to be a time rot applicator, meaning that you can get even more stacks of time rot with it. We'll have to see and wait. Maybe rifts will become a bigger thing with this. We'll have to wait and see. Then we have Blazing Steel. Your increases to physical damage also apply to fire damage for Void Cleave. So this is a dead hint giveaway. One of the other element conversions will be fire, which makes sense. We already guessed this. We assumed you'd be able to do physical, void, and fire. Maybe there will be one other. We don't know yet. But it does prove that fire will be an element conversion of Void Cleave. And then we have the Obliterator. If Void Cleave hits at least one enemy, your next Erasing Strike is always a critical strike. Now this is good and bad. One thing is, Erasing Strike is also a very expensive skill, so if you already have Void Cleave set up to have a mana cost, and then you have Abyssal Echoes proccing, and then you go to use an Erasing Strike afterwards, you're probably completely out of mana. It also means that all three of those skills, which are not 0 mana costing skills, can't generate mana for you. But we'll have to see what other changes come with the game. It might work really well. The fact that you're using a two-handed axe or a two-handed sword means that you're not using a polearm, meaning you're not using the Savna, you're not getting that base implicit added melee critical strike chance. The good news here, if you are using the two-handed Void Axe, Apothé's Maul, it doesn't have any critical strike chance on it, and this would be a good way for you to stack complete Void, have a huge amount of melee Void, and be able to get 100% crit with Erasing Strike. So that's a pretty big deal. Being able to cleave, then do an Erasing Strike seems like it could be a really good way to go, but we'll have to wait and see. We have Precognition, improves Void Cleave's base critical strike chance, and it cannot be dodged. So that's pretty cool. That would mean that if it's one of your main skills, you can now take the affix or the modifier enemies have a chance to dodge, and it's not going to bother you. That would be pretty cool. You can also see this increases the base critical strike chance, which is really going to be helpful. Hopefully it's a good amount, because it's going to be really hard to stack that melee critical strike chance, especially base, if you're using an axe or a sword, since it won't be an implicit, but you could use the Void Axe or the Void two-handed axe as well, and hopefully this would be a good way to still be able to get 100% crit chance, not only with the Erasing Strike, but with Void Cleave itself. And then down below in the comments we had some hints. Mike commented and said, forget everything you know about Abyssal Echoes. So obviously some chances are coming with that. We have no idea what those changes will be, but expect it to be big. A bit further down we have another confirmation that there will be even more changes. It says, curious to what other changes we will see to offset that, and that was in reference to expensive mana costs, and it says quite a few by Rhymer. So we're expecting lots and lots of changes, so it's basically going to be at this point pretty hard to ever plan on a build, considering that everything that we currently know probably will change in some way. Alright, next we have a couple of other skills to talk about before we start to speculate into Chapter 9. The first one, I've already shown this one. There's a new set coming, but I didn't show gameplay of the actual skill itself, so that's now playing, and that is the lightning conversion of Meteor. So coming in 8.3, there will be a new set that you can wear that will convert Meteor from fire into lightning, and as you can see in the gameplay, it looks like it comes down extremely quickly. It's super reactive and it looks good, so this is an exciting one. Hopefully it's going to be fun, powerful, and really feel like a big lightning meteor coming down, but we'll have to wait and see. So far it looks good though. Can't wait to try this one. Next, we have the new rework for Static Orb. Now, while they didn't say how much the tree is changing, they did give us some gameplay of Static Orb attacking some training dummies, and you can see visually it is much different than it currently is. So if you've been playing one of the Static Orb builds, especially with the little lightning novas that just absolutely obliterate endgame content by doing massive amounts of damage, I recommend you keep playing that for now, because I don't know if those will be with the new skill tree that it looks like we're going to have, as there are no lightning novas in the gameplay. But now you can see it looks like you fire off static orb. It's super quick. It looks like the animation has been sped up so you don't spend as much time casting. So the casting speed's quicker, and then it looks like the orb travels a little bit faster. Again, we don't know what nodes they took inside the tree, and then it looks like as it explodes at the end, it zaps out all nearby enemies. Now, whether there's a limit to how many enemies it zaps at the end, whether there will be nodes inside of that skill tree that allow you to zap along the pathway, whether you can still do lightning novas, what things will actually come with it, I don't know, but so far it looks like the changes look really, really good, and I think it's been mentioned that the performance of the skill itself has been improved much, which means that it's going to cost less resources to be used by the game. So this is again an optimization thing as well to make the game run better. So it's looking really good though. I really like the way that it explodes and then it just zaps out, uses lightning to all nearby enemies. That's going to feel really good. You don't have to worry about hitting them in an AoE. Now it's going to zap out. Who knows what the range is? It looks like it goes a decent amount of distance, but it should feel really, really good, especially if it zaps all enemies within a certain range or a certain amount of meters. And if you can expand that, that would be even cooler. Maybe you could get double strikes with it. Obviously, there's going to be a chance to apply shock. We'll have to wait and see, though. Alright, so now let's speculate on Chapter 9 and what it might bring. First off, let's think back to Chapter 8. Chapter 8 came out in patch 7.8 back in May 20th of 2020. That's right, over a year ago. It's been a year since we've had new chapter implemented. Now, they have done some reworks to the areas and some of the chapters, especially if you've gone through the Temple of Edera and the earlier chapters right before you get to the end of time for the first time. It is massively improved from some of the earlier areas that we've seen. So their team has grown, and you can see that their skill has grown. They have gotten much better with visuals, with models, with animations. Everything's gotten much, much better. They've added in voices that speak to you. I mean, it's just crazy how far they've come in that year. And that's what's got me most excited. Chapter 8 brought in whole new areas that looked much, much better, much cleaner, and they brought in new mobs. It was really awesome when Chapter 8 came out, and now it's been a whole year. They've improved so much. It makes me very excited for Chapter 9, which will come in 8.3. Now, one of the things that I'm speculating that will come in Chapter 9 in this new area is the new race, the Nagasa. Now, I may have pronounced that wrong, just forget about that, but the Nagasa is this race that is completely different from anything that we've seen in last Epoch so far. Not only is it a whole new race, which means all new models, all new probably attack types and fighting and animations, everything's going to be different. They're going to look visually much better. Now, we got teased back in March. There was a post that was talked about, how they had talked about, they showed us some models of them, played some videos. If you guys remember this, it'll be linked below in the description. But down below it said it's not quite ready for patch 8.2. But here's the thing, that means that they were actually hoping probably to get it out rather soon. And now that we're getting Chapter 9 and 8.3 just shortly after this, it makes me believe that these mobs will be implemented in Chapter 9. Now, I'm just speculating here, but I expect to run into this race. I expect these to be the new types of mobs that we run into. They're going to play into the storyline somehow. We'll have to see how the story plays out with them. But it seems like they're definitely going to be there. At least in my opinion, I expect them to be there. Now, what that really means is it means we're going to see how far EHG has come since the beginning. We're going to get a new chapter with all new maps and all new, hopefully all new mobs. And what this really means is we're going to see the visual transformation from a year ago when Chapter 8 was released to now, to just see how far they've come in a year. And I just can't wait. I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to be an excellent chapter, and ever since I heard Chapter 9 was coming, I've just been just uber excited. I just can't wait, because you just know you're going to go in there, it's going to feel so much more polished, so it's going to be optimized better. Everything about it is going to be just absolutely awesome, and I know that I'm probably getting my hopes up. I hope I'm not speculating too far, but if this race is in there, I think it's going to be one of the best chapter releases that we've had so far. So that's what I know so far is coming in the next 8.3 patch. We got some new skills. We have skill replacement, skill reworks, balance, sentinel rework. I've heard that Primalist is getting some rework. I've also heard through, I believe it was Discord that I saw, that the Acolyte will be seeing some love. So it's looking like lots of changes are coming. We're getting a whole new chapter, and again, in the next month, we'll just have to wait and see how many more teasers we get and what all is going to be coming in the next patch. So which skill did you like the best? Are you excited for Void Cleave? Are you excited for the lightning version of Meteor? Do you like the way that the new static orb looks? Are you hoping that the nagasa come with Chapter 9? Let me know in the comments below what you would be most excited for and what you hope to see the most. As always, stay safe, travelers, and have a good day.